Hello people, we are Tottenham TV back here again. The first day after the transfer window slammed shut last night. We've gone through all the nitty gritty of the transfer window. Now we can focus on the task ahead, and the one that is, the most urgent is the Champions League squad that is going to be announced at some point today, later on tonight. Apparently, 11 p.m.
Well, they have to have it done by 11.
Yeah, so that's the deadline tonight to announce that Champions League squad. And there's a lot of tough decisions to be made this evening. So obviously the rules are, so it's a squad of 25. You need 4 association, 4 club trained minimum. And obviously Spurs only have 1 club trained player in the squad. So that goes down by 3 because we can't name that. So we have to name a squad of 22 players. So that means some very hard decisions are going to be made. So obviously there's 28 man squads. That means 6 players out of all these players on this list are going to have to be left out the squad. So very hard decisions to be made, people.
Yeah, and don't envy Frank. Straight away, under the gun. As soon as he joins, he's going to have to make these tough decisions about players to leave out, players a lot of them he's obviously not spent a lot of time with, and he's going to have to make these decisions. And it's harsh, but this is the reality for us at the moment. He's probably going to upset someone, but that's what you got to do, unfortunately.
Yeah, and that's just the situation that we've been left in. I don't ever remember kind of like other clubs having to go through this, but I'm sure they have been. Maybe it hasn't been kind of put in the media or anything like that, but I don't remember any other Champions League teams in England having to go through such poor squad planning, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what it comes down to, isn't it? It's about building the squad and planning ahead. And that as much as we've done well, I think, in the transfer window, I think when it comes to squad planning kind of element to it, that's where we've been lacking, I feel. And then we've been lacking with that for a few years. And it kind of feels like whatever direction we go to, where there's, buy players to improve the first team or buy these young players for the future, I always feel like the planning of the squad has always been an issue about having the right players, getting the numbers right, getting players, development players, having a plan in place to develop players who are coming in. I feel like that's still something lacking, and I think when you look at the squad numbers, I think that tells a story.
Yeah, definitely. But there is an interesting rule that came to our attention today regarding the goalkeepers. So you have to name a minimum of 3 goalkeepers within the squad. 2 of those have to be in the A list. 1 of those have to be on the B list. However, if a goalkeeper does get injured during the UCL campaign, you can make an urgent or a what's it called?
Emergency.
An emergency change in that. So, for example, if we don't name Kinski in the squad and Vicario gets injured, at some point during the Champions League campaign, when he does get injured, you can bring Kinski back in. So I think that's a massive bonus for us when we're looking at trying to manage this situation.
Yeah, so because it could allow you a bit of breathing space. Obviously, it's still a risk because let's say Vicario doesn't get injured, he gets a 3-match ban. Then all of a sudden Austin is playing 3 games. Or on the flip side, the Vicario, what they describe as a long-term injury is 30 days or more. So if he's out for 20 days or 3 weeks, then again, Kinski can't join, and Austin will have to fill in.
How do you determine that though? Because sometimes players make quicker recovery than expected.
Has to be projected. I don't know. I don't know, but that's what it says. 30 days. Could you lie? Maybe to swap him out. I don't know exactly what. But I guess on the flip side, if Vicario is only injured for that long, could you trust Austin to play a couple of Champions League games? Is that big a deal? But as well, if what happens to Vicario happened last season, he's out for 3 months, then that gives you an opportunity to put Kinski in, and without having to say Austin plays all these games. So I think that's quite a good avenue to go down. Obviously, it's still a bit risky, but I think it's a risk worth taking. I think in our current circumstance, I would say, because the likelihood is Vicario is just going to play every game.
Yeah, I would say so. So I think when you're looking at the squad here, looking at the goalkeepers, Vicario, Kinski, Brandon Austin, and then there's Luka Gunter there on the B list. So I would actually say that's the first difficult decision to make. I would say go with Vicario, Brandon Austin, and Luca Gunter. And let's be honest, when Brandon Austin came in last season, he did well, and I've got no problems having him as the backup goalkeeper, barring before any kind of injury or if he does get a suspension. So I say Kinski's probably the first one to miss out here.
Yeah, and I think it makes the most sense. At the end of the day, Vicario is expected to play every game anyway. So that's the expectation. He's our number one goalkeeper. And if he gets a long-term injury, Kinski knows that he can fill in anyway. And it's not a situation, I think, when Champions League where we're looking to rotate. It's not like Kinski was set to play any of these games, I don't think. Maybe like Slavia Prague or something, but maybe a game where if we're already through in the latter stages, maybe he'll get an appearance. But I don't think he was set to start any of those games. So he's got the cup games anyway. If need be, if you want to rotate, you can play Kinski in a Premier League game, if need be, if that's the route you want to go down. So I think that makes sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, he was the one that was got left out of the Europa squad in the second half of last season as well. Do you remember we had that whole debate about Kinski coming to play and all that kind of stuff? So it will be very unfortunate for Kinski because he's come in, he's a very good backup, he's definitely an able keeper, and I think he'll be really upset to miss out, to be honest.
He will, but I think I think he will. But at the end of the day, I don't think he'll set to play any of these games anyway. And and it's not like if something goes wrong, he can't come in because he can. So he can come in if Vicario gets injured. So he was only really going to play if Vicario got injured anyway. So I think it makes sense. And as I've said, he can still play in the Premier League, he can still play the domestic cups. So hopefully he can be okay with that.
Yeah, so that means Kinski misses out, so we'll go with Vicario, Brandon Austin, and Luca Gunter.
And I don't know if you said we need 6 players.
Yeah, I did. Yeah,
6 players to.
So that means 5 more players need to be left out of this squad. Pedro Porro, Cuti Romero are obviously going to make it. That leaves you with the next player in Radu Dragu. Well, let's look at the whole kind of lump of defenders. So the centre backs, we've got Romero, Dragoshin, Danso, Van der Ven, Kota Takai, and I guess you can assume Ben Davis, but maybe we'll class him as a left back for this one. So out of those 5 defenders, you'd assume Radu Dragusin and Kota Takai will be the ones to miss out.
We'll put it this way. I think it's a better way to look at it is if we go through the ones we know are going to be left out. So Maddison is left out, right? Because he's got an ACL.
Yeah.
So you can scratch him off the list. Basuma, I think he could be set to leave. He's not. He doesn't really have a future here. So you can scratch him off the list. So that's already 3. Him, Kinski, Maddison. So that leaves you with another 3 you have to leave out. Probably you would say Kulusevski. Kulusevski is 1. You can scratch off the list because he's going to be out till December. So that leaves you with 2. So then you've got 2 players to leave out of this squad. So then who do you pick? That's the question.
Well, you're not leaving Porro out. You're not leaving Romero out. You're not leaving Danso, Udogie, Paulinho, Bentancur, Sarr, Bergvall, Simons, Kudus. Can't leave Austin out. Spence ain't going to be left out. Johnson and Solanke. We don't know about Solanke's injury, but you'd assume.
But the thing is, that we can't leave out another association trained because then our squad reduces.
So Solanke has to be named. So that leaves you with Dragoshin, Kota Takai, Ben Davis, and Archie Gray. But you can't leave out Archie Gray because he's association.
No.
So that leaves you with Dragoshin, Kota Takai, and Ben Davis. 2 of those 3 have to be left out.
Unless you leave out one of Odebear or Tell.
Yeah, you could do that. But, I mean, Dragoshin obviously coming back from his ACL, I don't think he's going to be fully fit and back to his best until probably after the UCL group stages finish. So he'll get his game time probably in the cup competitions and maybe coming off the bench in the Premier League. That's where I see his minutes getting back to full fitness. So I think we can say Dragoshin probably will be left out. Yeah,
he said a couple of months. Until he's back available. We heard, he's potentially back training in the next 10 days, but Frank did say a couple of months till maybe he's ready to play.
Yeah, there's a difference being back in training and back available.
So,
especially after ACL.
2 months, what's that, November? Yeah, I think it makes sense. I think leave him out. But that we are leaving ourselves short of the back. That's the truth. Obviously, Takai, the thing with Takai is...
Well, if he's back in November, that still leaves you 3 months of Champions League group stage games.
3 months?
November, December, January.
But we're saying leaving him out, though.
Yeah, but you're saying that, if he's not fit till November, then it's probably best to leave him out. But that still leaves you with 3 months of Champions League group stage games.
Yeah. Which is
a significant part.
Potentially
It's like
6 games, 6 games, 4 games.
Yeah,
depending on when he's back.
It's half the group.
Yeah, so you got either him or Takai or Davis. Probably have to leave at least one of them out.
I think Takai is definitely going to be left out.
Yeah, but he's going to be back sooner probably than Dragoshin.
Mm-hmm.
But is he ready?
But still, like with the centre backs, you've still got Romero, you've got Van der Ven, you've got Dan. So I don't think Ben Davies is going to be left out. So I think you've got Ben Davies there who can cover left back and centre back.
You're going to have to pick Davies because he covers full back as well. So you're going to have to pick him.
Yeah.
And he's not injured.
Exactly.
So
that leaves you just with Takai and Dragoshin.
Essentially, unless you want to leave out one of Odebear or Tell. Essentially, do you want to potentially leave do you want to leave one of those out? Well, we do have a lot of cover, if we're being honest, in the forward line. So is it necessary? But it'll probably be a massive blow to either of them if they get left out. And they're young, they need that confidence. Or do you leave yourself potentially short at the back, where let's be honest, we could do with one of those two in the squad just in case. But Dragoshin is injured for a couple of months, and we don't know what state he's come in, and we don't even know if Takai is ready.
It's a good point people make here in the comments. Danso is actually association trained, because he came through the ranks at MK Dons.
Is he though? Because some was asking the question, and I think the answer came back no. So I don't know if it's true. Yeah, see, someone said he's not. Cam Shanks is saying he's not.
Okay. Well, we'll assume he's not. So what are we saying at this moment in time? How many players?
Yes, the decision. So we got 2 out of Tel Odebear, Dragoshin and Takai. 2 of them have to be left out because I can't see any of the others being left out. So it's 2 of those really. Because look, if you do leave out Takai and Dragoshin, you are leaving yourself very short at the back. That is the truth. You're leaving first of all. Davis has to cover fourth. He's basically 4th choice centre back and for 3rd choice fullback. He's covering both those positions. Is that good enough, or is that are you leaving yourself vulnerable? It's a good point someone makes. Gray could fill in fullback and maybe emergency centre back potentially with his experience there. But again, is that do we want him in that position? I guess with the fact that Gray's a utility man, Davis can cover. Is there just enough cover to justify leaving both Takai and Dragoshin out? Or is there not?
I think there's just about, but if we get the injuries like we've been getting over the last 2 years in the back line, then obviously it's not enough.
The thing is, if we get Romero and Van der Ven out, even if Takai and Dragoshin are in, you're still pretty screwed.
Yeah, but obviously it's a lot better with them than without them. That's the thing. I mean, in my opinion, I think we should probably keep one of those defenders and leave one of Tell or Odebear out. And out of Tell or Odebear, I probably would leave out Tell, to be honest. I've seen more from Odebear than I've seen from Tell. And obviously we know that Thomas Frank, he's very much clean sheet first, very much heavily focused on his defensive structure and everything like that. And we've got enough players in the forward line. So it does make sense, actually, that one of Odebear or Tell would be left out. But I don't know. I just can't see it happening for some reason.
I can't see us leaving out a player we just signed for 30 million. But then again, I'm thinking back in January, I remember didn't Villa sign, I think it was Marlon, for decent money. They left him out, their European squad. But look, it's a different situation. I can't imagine we're going to leave him out after signing him for 30 million. I just can't imagine us doing that. But maybe we're going to be ruthless and say, look, we need another defender.
You're going to have to be ruthless because whoever you leave out, it's ruthless.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, but the thing is with Takai, we only signed for 5 million. Is he even ready? He hasn't had a pre-season. He's currently injured. So there's a lot of reasons to leave him out. Dragoshin, again, there's a lot of reasons to leave him out, seeing as he's just off the back of an ACL. We've still got 2 months to recover, and we don't know how good he's going to be when he comes back. So there's a lot of reasons to leave him out.
Who would you leave out if the decision was left to you?
I think I'd leave out the 2 defenders. I think there's just about enough cover to justify it. I mean, you are leaving yourself vulnerable, but I don't want to leave out Tell or Odebear. I think I want to keep them both in.
See, in my opinion, if it was up to me, I would take one of the defenders.
Which one?
I'd probably take Dragoshin, and I'd probably leave out Tell. That's what I would probably do. And I would give Odebear the backup option in the Champions League, and I'd give Tell the backup option in the Premier League. That's what I would personally do.
But then you're potentially leaving Tell out for a player who might not even play at all in the group stage.
It depends, like, what they think in the back end about Dragoshin, what the medical staff think, what Thomas Franks thinks. If he thinks he can play a part, then Dragoshin. If they think he can't play a part, then Kota Takai. I obviously don't know what the situation is with Dragoshin. If they're saying he's going to be back in a couple of months and, you know, back in training in a week, then, look, I still don't think he'll be back to his best. So maybe it is the smarter decision to take Kota Takai. But I just think we're well stocked in terms of numbers in the forward line. So even if you take Tell and Odebear, you know, one of them is going to have, or they might have very limited minutes in the Champions League anyway. So, yeah, I think it's just a smarter thing to do to take one of the defenders and leave one of the attackers out.
Fair. I would leave out Takai and Dragoshin.
That's more kind of on emotion more than actually squad planning and numbers, isn't it? Like it's not on. You know, it's better for squad planning to leave out one of the attackers.
Yes, what's it called? As I've said, it's not also just on squad planning. It's not just on emotion. Sorry, it's also there's a lot of reasons to leave out Takai and Dragoshin. That, you know, Takai's never played in Europe and he hasn't had a pre-season and he's currently injured. I don't know when he's back. I don't know if he's training when he's back from training, but maybe soon. So, you know, is he currently even a better option than Gray at centre back? I'd like to think yes, but I don't know. And Dragoshin, again, there's a good chance he won't be ready to play until the new year anyway. So is there any point when he's definitely going to be out for 2 months, leaving out Tell and Odebear, so in November maybe he's 4th choice? Does that make sense? Probably not.
Look, that's obviously information that we're not 100% privy to. Obviously, we know more about Dragoshin because he's had the ACL, but I don't even know what injury Takai has got.
He's got a foot injury.
But, like, I don't know what is it? What is this foot injury? Like, what's the extent of it? When is he going to be back fit? When is he going to be able to play? We don't know. But when we signed Takai, we got told he's going to be part of the first team, and he's here to be a rotation option, or he's here to be a backup option, or he's here, you know, to be part of the squad. So we are leaving ourselves short of centre back, and one injury to Van der Ven, which we know he's injury prone, one injury to Romero, who's had his own injury problems as well, then all of a sudden we're very short. But I guess you could say the same in the forward line as well, like one injury to Mohamed Kudus, and we're starting to look short in the forward options.
Some Ryan says he's got a plantar fasciitis.
Is that serious?
I don't know. I guess probably with all injuries depends to what degree.
So I guess it all depends on how they feel in the medical department and what Thomas Frank feels about the extent of the injuries. If they feel that they can take some part in the Champions League group stage and they can provide some sort of cover, then I would take one. But if they can't, then yeah, I would take Odebear and Tell. So I mean, we clearly don't know, so it's hard to make that decision, isn't it?
Let's see who that's the thing. Let's see. Let's put our poll. Let's see what people think we should leave out. I guess it's difficult because you have to leave out 2. So I guess the 2 higher percentages ones you'll leave out. That doesn't quite make sense though.
Yeah.
Maybe we can't read. Maybe a poll doesn't make sense. Yeah. Look, as I've said, I think just logically, actually, I think it just makes more sense just about to leave Tell and Odebear in. I think that's my opinion. I think Davis is probably going to be ahead of Takai anyway, so he's going to have to step up anyway if the time comes through. And if we're rotating, put it this way, if we are rotating, you can play Takai in a Premier League game instead of a Champions League. So if you need to do that, then you need to do that.
But you can do that with the forward line as well.
Yeah, it's true.
So I mean, any argument that we have for a defender can be used for the forward line, and we do have we're more stocked in the forward areas than we are at centre back, and we've only got 3 recognised fullbacks. Like, if you count Davis, we've got 4. If you go in, I mean, does Frank even consider Ben Davis as a centre back?
He's going to have to. No, I think he wants. I think predominantly left back, to be honest. But I think obviously he knows he can fill in a centre back. But yeah, he sees him as a left back, I think.
So all of a sudden, then, if you're in Frank's eyes, if one of our centre backs gets injured, we don't even have a centre back on the bench.
Well, he'll play him. He'll play Davis centre back.
But I mean, in his eyes, he's a left back. Yes, I know he can play there as.
No, I don't think that's how he sees it. He plays his left back. He can play centre back.
Okay, but he sees him as a left back, not a centre back.
Yeah, but he will play him as centre back.
He will play him as like kind of like a fill-in role, but does he see him as good enough to play there?
I don't know. Probably. He likes Davis, I think.
I think he would like I think he would like Davis in like the left side of a back 3 or at left back, but I think he sees him predominantly more as a left back than he does as a centre back.
I agree with that, but I don't understand the point. He will play him at centre back if he needs to. I'm pretty sure about that.
Yeah, but does he see it as a good enough option where, let's say, one of our wingers gets injured? Would he be more comfortable as playing Ben Davis as a left centre back, or would he be more comfortable as playing, let's say, a Javi Simons at left wing, or an Odebear at left wing, or even a Mohamed Kudus, Brennan Johnson? We've got so many players that can fill in at left wing.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas as centre back, we don't. We don't have that kind of those options.
Yeah. It's difficult. But I think for me, as I say, we don't know what state even Takai's in. Like, he hasn't had a pre-season. He hasn't played since, July? He's off an injury. He's coming into a brand new league. Like, I think let's say Takai's back for game week, the next game, yeah? And that we have an injury to, let's say Dante and Van de Ven go out in the next game, in whatever is West Ham, and we have a Champions League game in midweek, right? Does he play? Does he then start Takai in that next Champions League game, or Davis at centre back? I think he probably goes Davis.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
So,
but that still leaves you with no one on the bench. But Takai will have to be on the bench.
I understand that. I'm just saying, like, I think my point being, I think he'll probably still prefer right now Davis over Takai.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that, especially whilst Takai is only just about coming back from injury. But once he's got a bit of fitness behind him, maybe minutes behind him, will he still favour Ben Davis over Takai? Like, I think he'll want the cover there as well. Like, it's important to have cover, because if you're down to your bare bones at centre back and you've got literally none on the bench, and that's a massive risk in itself when you're looking at the forward line. Like as I mentioned before, there's so many players that can fill in there.
Yeah, you got Gray can fill in at the back line as well. Like, I would just leave. I would leave out.
Come on, man! The quality of options in the forward line are so much more comfortable than the quality of options. Like, you're talking about Archie Gray filling in at centre back, like.
Yeah, but you're talking about. Well, so you're saying forget Dragoshin, just Takai, just focusing on Takai.
One of them,
because Dragoshin's not going to be available for 2 months and might not even be available after that. We don't even know. But
yeah.
So, is it what are we saying when you're saying quality of options? That's half the group stage at least. Dragoshin's not even going to be available at all. So there's no point. What's the point in including him over players who are available?
Because it could come to it in the last kind of 5 or 4, 5, 6 games in the group stage when he could be available, then we'll have options there.
Too much of a risk for me. than
But
having.
what's the risk of leaving out Tell? There's not too much of a risk there because
You're risking alienating him.
Oh, I don't think so.
Of course you are. He's just signed for 30 million. He signed from Bayern because he wanted to play more, and then you're leaving out the Champions League squad. So that's not sending out the right message to him, is it?
Well, it'll be up to him to knuckle down and get better and prove your worth in the Premier League and the Cups. And then you have a decision to make in the second half of the season to hopefully include him in the
if you're
knockout
Tell
rounds.
and you're being left out the Champions League squad for a player who is currently injured for 2 months, right? You think he's going to take that well?
Well, he should. It should make him work harder.
All right, but I'm just saying I don't think that's not a good message to send to him. For me, I don't think.
But surely it's not just going to be like you're left out and that's it. Frank is going to have to chat to him and explain to him the reasons, and the reasons will be valid.
Look, I'm not saying he will. Okay, I'm not saying you're guaranteed to take it well, guaranteed to take it badly. He might take it well, and it might make him knuckle down. I'm just saying you're risking that. That's what I'm saying. That's a bigger risk for me than having Dragoshin for potentially a few games when he might not even be at his best.
Well, it might even be Kota Takai. I don't know. Like maybe Kota Takai is the better example here. Maybe he's going to be fitter earlier than a Radu Dragoshin. Like it doesn't have to be Radu that's out for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like it could be Kota Takai. Like I'm just worried about the cover at centre back that we've got, particularly as we know that our centre backs are injury prone.
Mm-hmm. Like you got Dancer, you got Davis, you got Gray. It's not great, but I'd rather just trust them for the Champions League and then include Odegaard and Tell and not have that uncomfortable conversation with them about not including them right now. Because I think it's an easier conversation to have with Dragoshin and Takai than it is with Tell and Odegaard. I just think, that comes into it, these emotional things. Also, all these conversations and how players feel and all these kind of things. That comes into management of a squad. And I just think, for me, that's what I'm more comfortable with, in my opinion.
I guess as well, what comes into it, there is Junai Beifeld on the B list. He came in, and I know, probably don't want to throw a 16-year-old centre-back into the deep end in the Champions League, but he could provide cover.
I guess. Tough one. I don't know if you want to throw him in the deep end, but he had a great, 20 minutes against Luton. I don't know if based on that you want to chuck him in the Champions League game, but I guess it's an option.
Yeah, but we're all waxing lyrical about Luka Vuskovic. I know it's a completely different story, and I'm not trying to compare the two players. And Luka Vuskovic is miles ahead of Junai Beifeld. I'm not saying that, but we were waxing lyrical about his game against a League One opposition as well. But
a full game, not 20 minutes.
Yeah, no, I know. Look, I'm saying I'm not trying to compare the two. Look, I do get what you're saying, and I do understand it. And if I don't really want to leave out Tell, it's not like I'm sitting here dying to leave out Tell. I'm just worried about the numbers at centre back, and I don't think Archie Gray's going to cut it as cover for centre back.
Oh, he's fifth choice.
Yeah, he is fifth choice, but we know our centre backs get injured every season.
All right, so do you leave out Tell and Odegaard just in case we have to drop down to our fifth choice, or do you go for Tell and Odegaard? That's just, look, it's my opinion. I would go for Tell and Odegaard. We have a disagreement there. It's fine.
All right, well, that's my opinion. That's your opinion. We'll see what Frank does a bit later. That's the reality.
Well, the poll, we've got a poll. So I kind of managed to do a poll. So who do you leave out? Dragoshin and Takai, Tell and Dragoshin, Tell and Takai, or Tell and Odegaard? And 60% say Dragoshin and Takai.
So, before actually coming on and doing this video, my opinion was Dragoshin and Takai. But now, just thinking about it, I'm thinking more it should be Tell. But we'll see what Frank does later. And whatever Frank does, I'm sure will be the right decision.
Hopefully. Well, I don't know. He's not some deity. It's not the right just because he picks it, but...
Yeah, it is. Whatever Frank does is going to be the right decision.
All right, well, let us know in the comment section below what you think it will be. And yes, we'll see. Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what he picks.
Yeah, absolutely. So, big question marks around this Champions League squad. It's going to be very interesting to see what Frank does later on this evening. And obviously, when the Champions League squad does get announced, we will bring it to you here first on We Are Tottenham TV.